I think what's really interesting and something that I've looked into and find pretty compelling is how the fundamentals that drive a rebrand have changed over the decades. And I think what's also quite fascinating is that I kind of bundle them into like the traditional rationales and motivations for a rebrand. And if you look at kind of the 1980s and 1990s, that's primarily driven by mergers, acquisitions, demergers, which by default constitute a rebrand and are particularly driven in certain instances by legal requirements. Where it gets really interesting, however, I think is when the rebrand is driven by or shaped by cultural change, demographics, shifts in society. I think digitization is a really, really important one. And the ability to really tap into the culture and mindset of different audiences is a critical component of how brands need to operate today and could primarily cause a rationale or motivation for a rebrand. I think reputation is another important component that needs to be factored in when considering a rebrand. Factors beyond the control of a company can have a major negative impact on an organization's image or the perception of the organization, and that in its simplest terms can shape or inform a rebrand for the organization. But I think what's really, really important is that just reskinning a skeleton will not fundamentally change the perception of an organization. One of the other considerations, I think, is the notion of internationalization. And brands that truly need to be seen on an international scale need to really think about their name. Does the name migrate? Can it translate? What are the inherent meanings behind the brand, particularly between East and Western cultures? We do a lot of work in the Middle East, where the cultural sensitivity plays an important component in shaping or reshaping brands. An interesting example is a current client we're working with, Abdul Latif Jamil. Heritage is automotive, strongly associated with Toyota. In fact, many customers actually view the Abdul Latif Jamil brand as Toyota. What was really fascinating was how motivations or how issues beyond the control of the organization forced the organization to think about a rebrand. For example, the tsunami, that had a direct impact on the ability of Toyota to deliver products to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Another example being the financial crisis, where they couldn't rely on Toyota for financial support. And that led to a fundamental strategic change of the organization, where they needed to start thinking about diversifying across the Middle East so that they could spread the risk. That led to a rebrand, a repositioning, the development of a new purpose, what the organization stands for. And I think the key learning here is that irrespective of when a company undertakes a rebrand, the rebrand still needs to be based on something authentic to that company. We as brand builders and being part of the Simplicity company, we don't reinvent. What we do is we look for that core truth, we amplify it, and that needs to be deployed across a multitude of touch points. And what we're really talking about is defining experiences that are reflective of a core purpose or core truth of that organization.